So that was the first part of 2018, like before I feel like I died. But what happened after was me just really focusing on myself and focusing on getting to know myself better and healing like issues that I had. Like they were again just snowballing to bigger issues, and I felt like I had to start from the beginning. I had to deal with any unresolved childhood issues that I had, and oh, I had plenty. That was the first part of things, and it what helped me get through them was just doing childlike things. What helped me get my pureness back, my joy back, my childlike joy, my childlike view of the world, um, was just watching cartoon movies, animated movies, drawing. And yeah, like this channel, like I will be drawing, and it's just drawings that have. It's not supposed to be a masterpiece. It's not supposed to be perfect. It's not supposed to be anything like that. It's literally just to show the pleasure and the relief that I get, either when I would have panic attacks, when I would be depressed, like it brings you some little joy and it just distracts you from getting out of your head. Oh, and that was another thing. Like, I really, I was trying to find ways to deal with my depression or anxiety or any of these things that actually worked. And I realized that for anxiety, like when I have anxiety, no, was it anxiety? Hmm. I don't know. It's just different ways. Like I realized that with anxiety, you have to be more physical. Like what helped me was being more physical, working out and stuff. But with depression, um, it's the same thing. It was being active. But for the panic attacks and being just, I don't know. It just really helps to just distract yourself. And the drawing really helped me. And it just made me feel happy, honestly. And sometimes I would also think about like the issues that happened to me as a kid, and I would try to go back and just like, say what I would have said then or do what I would have done then, and just talk to myself and just really talk to your like your inner child, like your little person inside of you that never healed. Um and it worked, honestly. Like I don't think about those issues like that anymore. I'm talking about it now again because I procrastinated. So now I'm stuck like talking about these things, and it's okay because I hope it's the last time that I talk about them. Um Once I put these videos out, once I get the story out, I don't ever want to look back. I don't ever want to think about them again because I have done that. And we've evolved to bigger issues. But growing up, I guess this is where I'll start my childhood part of things and explain what I went through and how that affected me. So yeah, so growing up, um, we didn't grow up with money. Like we lived in one house, and it had the room, the bathroom, not a bathroom, the room, the kitchen, and the living room all in one room. And our bathroom was an outhouse. And that's all I remember from like the first 4 years of my life. Um, then we came to the US when I was 5 years old. And yeah, things were different, but I had a pretty good childhood. I will say I had a pretty good childhood. The only issues that I had were with my dad's family. My mom and my dad's family did not have a good relationship ever, have never had. I don't think they ever will. Um, and that kind of like got passed down to me. I feel like I inherited that beef with my mom and my dad's family. My dad is like the youngest son out of like 8 or 9 people, and his sisters did not like my mom. His mom didn't like my mom, and they were kind of, from what I've heard, they were very rude to her. They jumped her, and they would just try to humiliate her and try to, keep her away from my dad. And they did that because they wanted my dad to provide for them. And like, it was the type of thing where like they would get mad if my dad would buy furniture for us. And yes, so the most of my issues in my childhood came from his family. And my dad was just a big family man, and he just did not want to disappoint his family. He didn't. I felt like for him, for honestly, I felt like this whole thing about me feeling I didn't have a voice as a kid was his fault. He um he would just judge and criticize me for every little thing. Like, I wouldn't walk right, I wouldn't talk right, I wouldn't stand right, I wouldn't sit right, I wouldn't breathe right. Like, I'm not kidding. At some point, he pointed out that I was breathing wrong. I was breathing away, and he did not like it. Um, and that was from a very early age. From around like 7 or 8 years old, I was constantly talked about like my weight. My weight, I was called fat, and I will put a picture here so you guys can see my fatness as a kid. It wasn't until an adult that I realized like, oh wow, like I was not fat, and y'all made me feel like that for years as a kid, and I hated it. I hated it. I feel like that was unnecessary. I feel like we shouldn't have been focused on that, and I will talk about that too. Well, I'll talk about that now. Like, it's awful to be judging and pointing out kids' bodies at such a young age. Like, I read something where 8 to 10-year-old girls now are worried about their bodies and getting depressed because of their bodies. Like, what the hell is that about? Like, no, that should not even be a thing. Girls should not have to worry about their bodies. Like, yeah, we should want them to be healthy, but you should not point out little flaws in kids' bodies because they're freaking kids. Let them be kids. And that was me. Like, I feel like everybody and his family was just obsessed with my body and talking about my body, and it was very uncomfortable. I did not want to talk about my body or how my body was developing. It was freaking awkward. It was weird. But not only did like we have to just deal with that, with my body shaming, my fatness as a kid, but his family was just very volatile. Like, they sucked. I have memories of one of his sisters walking up to the bus stop trying to fight my mom, like at 7 a.m. It's like, girl, like, go to bed. Like, what are you doing over here? I was like in freaking kindergarten, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is so embarrassing, and I'm tired. Like, I honestly, and I was so angry. Like, I hated his family. I hated my dad's family. They were mean to me. They were not nice. This specific aunt that I'm talking about, who tried to fight my mom, she did not like me. Anytime that she and I were alone, she was mean to me. She would say mean things to me, and it sucks. She would always just talk about me, talk about my body, and I know it was because she just did not like my mom. And I still had to be around them because my dad wanted me to be part of his family, even though his family was rude and mean. Um, so another thing that we had to deal with was like, my dad would buy my mom stuff. Like, he got her a car, and what his sisters do, because we all lived in the same neighborhood, they used to put glass behind the wheels of my mom's car every night. So in the morning when she would back out, it would pop the wheels or something. And that went on for a while, for a long time. And as I got older, like after we moved out of there, I found threats to my mom from my dad's family, and I was infuriated. My mom kept those notes for years, and I asked her, I'm like, what was that about? And why didn't you ever like report it or anything? Because those are threats. And she told me that she did not report it because my dad asked her not to, because those were his sisters. And I feel so angry for her, because I would have whooped their fucking ass if I had known. I want to whoop their fucking ass now. Like, I want to fucking drag, never mind. Anyway, I just don't like that, and I will never respect them. Even though my mom and I do not have not had the best relationship, she has always provided for me, and she was always there for me, and I'm thankful for that. And I will never allow them to disrespect her about that or with that or anything. Like, you just don't do that. And I lost some respect for my dad for allowing that. Like, how can you allow your family to harass and torment and taunt your wife, the mother of your kid? Like, are you serious? Like, really? Um, yeah, but I didn't find out till like what, 3, 4 years after that had happened. Um, yeah. So that's kind of it. It's just like it's not it. Like, there was just a bunch of trauma that happened in my family when I was younger, and just growing up with it, it was kind of hard. It was kind of not hard. It was just confusing on what you feel, because some of it is just not normal. It's not okay, but you're kind of taught that it's normal, even though you feel like it is not normal. And what I'm referring to is just like people making bad decisions in my family and not really thinking about anyone else or how it would affect anybody else. Like, when I was like 7 or 8 years old, one of my cousins, somebody, I don't know what they got into, but it ended up with their dog dead, and there being like a message written with the blood of the dog. And the week after that, my cousin and his dad, I think they got beat up. My cousin got tied to a truck and dragged through gravel, and his head was like huge. His head was like the size of a freaking sink. And yeah, so ugh, gross. What do you even make of that when you're a kid? Like, what do you even think? Like, oh, this is this normal? But then everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of the men in my dad's family and overall family have been in prison, and that's not normal. I didn't realize that was not normal until I got older. Um, there's just some things that I just went through, and it's just like, oh, like I really thought that was normal, and it was anything but that. Also, that cousin that I'm talking about, he was weird. He was like a weird predator. He would talk about my other cousins' like bodies, and then when I got older, he tried to make me do illegal substances, and then would ask me about like sexual stuff, like sexual things, and it was freaking weird. And then he told me that he had, he weird stuff going on with another cousin. I'm like, oh, dude, like leave me out of it. But I will get into that like in another freaking story along the way because we are not there yet. Um, but yeah, so what am I at? Like my childhood, about 8 years old. I don't know. Um, yeah, so that was one of the traumas. The other traumas in my childhood are animals. And animals, I mean, like, I had a lot of pets that were killed either accidentally or on purpose for whatever reason. And I was always told not to cry about it, to get over it. They are just pets, they are just cats. And it was horrible. It was like, it was kind of traumatic. It was very traumatic. And I still get triggered to this day because of that. I couldn't even watch what is it? Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I finished it, but in one of those scenes, if you guys have watched it, whenever the friends are just dead and he's looking at them and Rocky is looking at them, I got triggered and I suddenly visualized like all the pets that I had that were killed in my life, and I had to run to the bathroom and cry for like 30 minutes, and I was just freaking out. And then I came out and I was fine. Um, but yes, I will talk about that in the next video.